Are there some cracks emerging in the Gang of Eight? Florida Republican Senator Marco Rubio, a member of that group, now saying talk of an immigration reform deal is premature, adding, in order to succeed, this process cannot be rushed or done in secret. We're going to talk to another Gang of Eight member, Senator Lindsey Graham, in just a moment. He says a deal could be just days away. But first, Michelle Malkin on what she makes of these latest developments. Michelle, do you think there is a rush to get this legislation in place?
Yes, I think that there's a stampede by many Republican capitulationists, and that does include your upcoming guest, Lindsey Graham.
But why?
To pander.
Why do you think they'd do that, Michelle? Why? What is in their political interests to rush this through?
Because there are many self-deluded Republicans in Washington who feel that this kind of shamnesty is a salvation for a party that is in shambles. Of course, the problem is that they have the equation backwards. At the same time that they are talking out of one side of their mouth to grassroots conservatives and people of all political persuasions who believe that it is the government's constitutionally mandated role to secure the borders, these people are treating it as if it's some sort of permanent April Fool's joke. And it has been since the days of amnesty under Reagan, the promise of secure borders in exchange for continual rolling mass illegal alien amnesty.
Is it a rush? Because there has been talk of this legislation for at least months now, and there has been this form of amnesty since before the election last year. So is it really accurate to say they are rushing to get something done when things have been on the boil for a couple of months now?
Well, I'll tell you what, the stampede is this post-election pandering by the Republican establishment. But you're right, I mean, it's more of a complicated question because in my view, and I've been reporting on these issues for more than 2 decades now, the Republicans have moved too slowly and dragged their feet in the same way that open borders Democrats have on the real immigration enforcement reforms that need to be done on their own, not tied to any kind of shamnesty plan. Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution, which you rarely hear about in these bipartisan discussions now, mandates that the federal government ensure and guarantee that the states are protected against, quote, invasion. And the B-roll that you're showing, the reports that you just talked about from Katie Pavlik and others, the long-time reporting and evidence that I've amassed as a journalist in Los Angeles, in Seattle, where the neglected northern border remains a problem, and of course our air ports of entry, our land ports of entry, our sea ports of entry, not to mention the consular offices overseas, which are supposed to be the front line of guarding against invaders. That
raises the question, would conservatives ever be convinced that the border has been flat out closed, that it is not porous? I mean, would they ever be convinced of that?
Look, there's never any such thing as 100% safety and security in anything in our lives. The point is that this federal government, under both Republican and Democrat administrations, has done the least amount possible to fulfill its constitutional mandate. You want to talk about specific metrics? How about the 500,000 people who are deportation evaders, people who have already been identified by border security, by detention and removal, by immigration judges who violated their immigration deportation orders, were supposed to be left. And guess what? We haven't done a thing to track these people down and kick them out of our country.
Do you think America has the stomach to round up 500,000 people and throw them out?
Well, if we're talking about these deportation evaders who have multiple criminal records, why not? Of course we should. That is their duty. And I think this is the problem with these questions.
Wait, hold on a second. I've got to straighten this out. Are you saying that there are 500,000 visa evaders, deportation order evaders, who have criminal records? They all have criminal records?
These are absconders. These are people who had been ordered deported by immigration judges, not merely for the crime of crossing our borders illegally, but for the crime of absconding. And after September 11th, it was supposed to be a serious bipartisan effort to track these people down, because we don't know which of them are just here to make their lives better for their families and which of them are here for far more nefarious reasons. This is a very specific subset of illegal aliens that we should be able to do something about, in addition to visa
There is another side of the coin. Some Republicans will say, we can never make inroads into the Hispanic vote if we take a very, very hard line, which is what you're taking.
What is hard line about enforcing the law against people who defy
throwing out
judicial
500,000 people and rounding up some others?
Yes.
That's a hard line. That is a hard line.
No, it's not. There's two problems. It is not a hard line because there used to be bipartisan agreement that this was a national security threat, and that is why we have receded so far from the post-9/11 mentality that all Americans were supposed to agree should be something that is remembered and never forgotten as part of the 9/11 legacy. Second of all, there's the fallacy that this has anything to do with one ethnicity over the other, and that is falling for playing the race card by a subset of open border zealots.
Michelle Malkin, we do hear you. Thank you very much, Michelle. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Gotcha.